What's in the box? What's in the box? What do you think is in the box? Stick around and we'll explore the Flagship Table Saw Sled delivered in a box from King's Fine Woodworking. Welcome to Turning Stitches. I'm really excited about this new shop upgrade, so I wanted to share it with you today. In my normal workflow, I like to use a crosscut sled here at the table saw instead of a miter saw to break down long boards. I enjoy building crosscut sleds, and a lot of times I'll make them for specific purposes, like this one I made just for chair legs. Others have more general purposes, but I ran across this one online recently from King's Fine Woodworking. It has a lot of the features that I was wanting to include in my next crosscut sled build. And so after watching a lot of the videos on King's Fine Woodworking's channel and salivating over all the different features and functions that this included, well, I broke out my credit card, and as you see, here it is. In this video, I'm going to focus on the features of this crosscut sled that I'm looking forward to using the most. James has got some really great videos on his channel that show you how to build this sled entirely from the ground up, or if you order the Flagship Table Saw Sled delivered in a box like I did, he's got some abbreviated videos that show you how to assemble it basically from opening the box to this point here. There are two big reasons that I prefer a crosscut sled, and the first one really boils down to space. Now I've got a decent sized shop here in my basement, but I do have a few limitations. I've got a knee wall over here to my right, I've got a chimney right behind me, a post and another chimney on down in the back of the shop. So if I have boards that are 8 feet long or so, this is really the only space right here in front of me that I have to really process those. And while I'm doing that, I'm usually shuffling different tools around in this space to get that done. Not to mention the fact that my miter saw is an older model and it only has about a 5-inch cutting capacity. Now I'm aware that there are some really nice sliding compound miter saws out on the market, and those are great saws. But that sliding mechanism takes up more space. And so as I revert back to that space, I just keep coming back to the crosscut sled, at least in my workflow. Accuracy is the other reason why I like crosscut sleds. And frankly, it's the reason why I've been wanting to rebuild this, my primary crosscut sled. So once you've got a crosscut sled dialed in, not only will it make really great or perfect 90-degree cuts to the angle or to the blade, but the kerf line that's on the base also shows you exactly where the blade is going to fall. The problem that I've run into over time, and it's just from wear, is that you can kind of see where the blade sticks up through the kerf. Now I can get a couple playing cards into the side, into that slot on both sides. So I've lost some of my accuracy on this sled, which is why I've been wanting to rebuild it. So one of the features I wanted to make sure I included in my next crosscut sled build was a removable center section so that I could replace it easily as you get wear and tear and you've changed blades and things like that and you lose that accuracy. You could replace the center section instead of having to rebuild the entire sled. And that's one of my favorite features that's included on the Flagship Table Saw Sled from King's Fine Woodworking. So let's dive into one of my favorite features on this sled, and that's this center section. One of the things that makes this so attractive in my mind is being able to move the base here where we can match our kerf and get that perfect zero clearance cut every time and dial in our accuracy as we're making marks and things like that. Not only do we have that available on the base, but we also have these sliding tabs here on this back fence that'll do the same thing. So that gives us that zero clearance cut even here on the right up against the face, and it helps us dial in that accuracy. Another advantage of having this flexibility here with this center section is we could use a dado blade, different widths of a dado blade. You can get the zero clearance. You can also use a bevel. So I actually have a different sled that I use. This is just kind of a rudimentary sled that only goes on the right-hand side that I use for bevels because my blade tilts this way. But I would be able to, basically I'm not going to need this sled anymore. I'll be able to make those beveled cuts here because I can widen this side and I'll be able to bring this side right up where I right up on the blade where I need it to be. The other great thing about this design is if you wear these out, all you have to do is make this one piece. So I was talking before about replacing or making a new crosscut sled. Instead of having to remake the whole sled, it's just these two parts, which are pretty easy to do. And of course, what would a crosscut sled be without a stop block? So James has got a really great simple design here on the stop block. Basically, it just drops down over the back fence here. You tighten up the star knob and it's locked in place. It also has down here on the bottom a bolt that you can use, just unscrew it a little bit if you need to fine tune your cut or your length. And then we've got a bolt on both sides so you could use it in either direction. It doesn't matter where it's at. Another advantage of having this bolt is if I need a short cutoff piece with this little safety box back here on the back of the fence, I could put a longer bolt here if I needed, for example, a stop right here that's really close to the blade where it's not going to reach. So I could easily replace or just use a different 3/8 inch bolt screwed right into the threads here on the bottom of the block if I need to reach closer to the blade on either side. I end up making a lot of frames for different wall hangings around the house. A lot of times Sherry will make quilts that are designed to be hung on a wall. Sometimes my son Peyton will make fabric panels that will also be wall hung. So I find myself building frames quite often. I'm really excited to use this setup, and I'm hoping it really helps increase the accuracy. I've used jigs like this in the past, which do a great job of giving you those 45-degree mitered corners. The trick is always measuring and the offsets and things for frames. So this little stop block is designed to help with that. So I'm really excited to put this to use and make some frames. I've got a whole list of them, so I'll be able to get to work on those very soon. The other advantage, if you notice here, we've got a couple things that also, not only do we have the frame panel, but we were also able to remove this far end of the fence. That'll give us more clearance for longer boards that we're cutting across this way. The other thing too that maybe you noticed is that front fence has also been removed. So it removes very easily. We've got the star knobs and just sort of T-slot bolts that it just slides in and out of. So if I've got long frame members, you can very easily cut those long boards right here by having this nice channel for that extra length. One of the other features that I'm really excited about is this setup for cutting angles. So it's another attachment that goes on the sled using the T-track. We just bolt it down reference to the fence. We've got a digital angle finder up here, so it makes it quick and easy to really come and set up any angle that you want to set up. I actually have another sled that's dedicated for segmented wood turning, really designed to make this type of cut. That one's very purpose-built, of course, but I'm really excited to be able to use this just to be able to cut angles quickly and easily. If you only need a few, this is going to work great, because the other sled that I've got does take some time to get set up and dialed in just right for any angle you're wanting to use. So this, I'm excited to see how this works just to make quick work of angles. There's so many details on this Flagship Table Saw Sled that are easy to overlook, and a lot of times it's the little simple things. Yes, it's great that it has this angle finder that we can make angled cuts quickly and accurately, but it's little things like being able to, the flexibility of being able to take the angle on and off, the frame tool and put it on and off. But it's simple things like just making sure this T-track is short of this fence, which makes it easy to get the bolts out, things like that. The other thing with table saw sleds, you always run into capacity issues. So this one solves a lot of those. Once again, we can quickly and easily remove that front fence. That adds, we can cut longer, wider panels. If we've got angled cuts and long boards that we need to cut at an angle, by the time you take this off and you remove this end of the fence, It just adds a lot of capacity and a lot of flexibility to this sled. I'm excited to get back to work here in the shop. In upcoming videos, you'll see all kinds of different ways that we'll be utilizing this Flagship Table Saw Sled. If you'd like to add this sled to your shop, I'll leave links in the description below to King's Fine Woodworking, where you can buy the plans, the hardware kit, or even the Flagship Table Saw delivered in a box like I did.